Hello, everybody. We are about to begin, so just get settled in. We will start in just a moment. Just a moment. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to our day here. I'm just looking, and we're going to pin. It is good to be with you again, everybody, for our second live session here. And I am Phoebe Leona. I am the voice that you've been listening to, interviewing everybody this past few days. So yes, thank you. Hi, David. Anybody out there in the YouTube world, let us know where you're coming from. And I would love to know for everybody, wherever you're watching, wherever you're tuning into, where are you coming from? And if you've been immersed in the summit, what is one of your biggest takeaways so far? And while you're doing that, we'll just start to get settled in, and I'll tell you a little bit of the logistics of what we're doing today. So today is more of an experience. I'm going to share a little bit more. Monday was our time where we had some education, where we were talking a little bit more about why we're here. I brought into my story of why we're here and educated us a little bit through the lens of what this embodiment means, specifically for leaders. And today we're going to actually have an experience of those CEOs. Remember, the CEOs was centering, finding, being in touch with that emotional landscape within, as well as what is an open, safe, and inclusive space. So that is what we're going to be doing a little bit in just a moment. So I do see some people signing on into the free YouTube channel here. I see you all in our VIP lounge. And I will say, if you're out there watching, let's go ahead and just invite you, if you want to come back in the VIP room, we will have a little bit of time to integrate together and get to know each other a little bit more after the session ends out in live. So if you want to have that experience, I would say go ahead and up level to your VIP and come hang out with us. And when you do that, you also get access to our bonus sessions that are coming up on Sunday with some amazing embodied leaders that you already got to meet, Nancy and Crystal and Kim and Ryan, who have been already part of the summit. And we will also have Elizabeth and Michelle and Hollis, who you have not met yet. So they will be together with me on Sunday, and that is a VIP session, so that we get to work together a little bit more intimately in that container. And then there's one other live session with me and maybe a few other guests. We'll see what happens on Wednesday, May 3rd. So if you want to have access to that, I would just say, come on in, upgrade to us. You can join us here right now. You'll get that link and be able to join us. So I do see some of our friends in the VIP room coming in. Welcome, Stephanie. Welcome, David. I see Lori's about to come in. Yeah. And I'm just trying to think, do I have any other logistics before we center ourselves? I think that's it. I'll talk a little bit more on the other end, but I feel that we need to land here. Yeah, so let's just take a moment for our sacred pause. And whatever you've been doing, if you're transitioning and still sort of doing other tasks, I invite you to just land here right now. And that might mean to physically move your body into a place of stillness. And you can choose to place your hands on your space or on your body or somewhere that feels good for you. And I invite you to maybe close your eyes, or at least soften your gaze away from the screen. And let's just collectively bring our breath together. So deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, just a big sigh out and land where you are here in your physical space, in your body. And another breath will flow in to fill up your container. And as you exhale, notice as you exhale how the body responds. Maybe there's a softening in places where you tend to hold tension. Again, another breath will flow in. And then just let it be a breeze of a sigh out. And notice what you notice here in your body, your breath. And as you have arrived here now in this space, continue to breathe, continue to witness what is here in this inner landscape of yours that maybe you don't always give yourself full permission to tap into. So allow. And in the centering, I'm going to share a quote from Albert Einstein. A human being is part of the whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Just allow yourself to be here and for a moment. Again, just witnessing anything that spoke to you, if there was a word or a phrase or an image that deeply resonated from what that came through in that quote. And notice if there was any physical sensations, feelings, thoughts that are still here as you sit for a few more breaths. Just simply giving yourself permission to be here now. Whatever you're witnessing here now, if you want to seal that in and let it be part of your new blueprint for the day, I invite you to maybe just bring your hands around your arms and give your arms a little squeeze, like a little hug, a little squeeze down the arms. And anywhere else, maybe anchor into your legs, into your feet. And arrive here. You can gently open the eyes. And yes, so welcome again, everybody. It's good to see you all and be with you again for our second live session. So that quote it's a quote that I share a lot in my teaching. And I was in a speaking engagement over the weekend, and the host of the engagement brought that quote into it, saying, whatever I was sharing really resonated with this quote. And I said, I share this quote a lot. So I felt called to bring that in. And it really speaks to what we're looking at in terms of being embodied leaders is to know that we're not separate. Sometimes when we go on this journey of envisioning, seeing something that maybe others have not seen yet, we feel somewhat imprisoned by that knowing. And we create these ways of separation. But really, as our job as having this vision is to help widen that circle, have people see what you see and take them along for that journey. So just an example of this is, this summit is a beautiful example of this. I came with an idea. I was kind of witnessing what was happening in the world, what felt misaligned, what felt aligned. And I thought, what if we brought together amazing group of people who have powerful messages and bring them together and see what we can create. So we brought this group of 30 of us together. And now we're in this container with you all. There's at least 400 of you all signed up. So whether you're here live or watching it in a replay, we're now receiving these words of wisdom. We're receiving these ideas. We're helping shift our perspective. And now we're going to be, as we listen and we take them out into the world, the ripple effect. We're going to continue these conversations in our own little circles, our big circles, and we're widening that circle so that we don't feel so alone anymore. So that's what our job here is right now, for you to listen and have the experiences purely for yourself. And then hopefully you can go out and you can integrate them into your own worlds. So that was my intention with just that one idea. So it always starts with that idea. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's two people, and then we take that out. And it doesn't matter how big the ripple is, just that you continue to show up. You continue to show up for yourself and for our world. So as I mentioned before, the centering, we have the VIP. We're going to have a couple of extra sessions that are happening later this weekend and next week. So I definitely suggest for you to come in. You'll have a little bit more support there. And also, if you haven't taken advantage of the free call, I see Stephanie here. We got to meet earlier this week. And Lori, I'm going to get to meet with you. And just when we finish up here, and I know I see some Denise over at YouTube. We just met earlier this morning. So it's been so powerful to be able to sit with each of you and really listen to what is it that you're envisioning? Where are you having struggles? What kind of support do you need? Right? And to know that you're not alone in this journey. And I kind of want to touch in and bring in some of the conversations I was hearing, because I want, for a number of reasons. One, because so that if you were the person that you spoke into this struggle, to know that you're not alone. Because I've been hearing a lot of the same themes, and you probably also heard them too within the conversations of the summit. These themes of feeling stuck. And I'm going to kind of break it down into the past, the present, the future that keep us stuck. So the stuck of the fear of the unknown, not really being able to even envision what is out there, because we're fearing that liminal space. And I'm going to dive deeper into what that means in just a moment. But fear of the future, fear of maybe not even being able to get into that space of envisioning what we want to create just yet. Some other themes was fears of stuck in the past, those stories of regret or resentment or grief that are keeping us stuck in proceeding in what we want to create. They're keeping us in this loop. And then the fears of being stuck right now in the limited resources, the money, the time, the resources in various ways that keep us from taking the next step forward. So if one or many of those resonate with you, just know, first of all, that you're in the right place. You are not alone. We're in this together. Whether you are leading just your own personal life and becoming the CEO of your own life, or many, you're not alone in this journey. And if this does resonate with you and you do feel a little stuck, I say book your one-on-one call with me. Definitely. We'll talk a little bit more and see how we can navigate those waters for you. Another quote that I want to bring into this conversation is actually my mom gave this to me in a book that she gave me for my birthday this month. And she wrote in it, life is not a problem to solve, but a mystery to live. And this is a Nietzsche quote. And I think that this is really important as leaders to remember this, because it's somewhere along the line, we had this vision, we had this idea, we wanted to create it, other people are following along, and then all of a sudden we have this responsibility to know all of the answers. And so we have to problem solve. And this is where the disembodiment comes into play, where if we're not feeling powerful, we give our power over to something else. Then we start to micromanage and wanting to find the problems to solve. When really what we need to do is be embodied, be in our body, feel empowered, lean into the mystery, and live in this space. This space, this liminal space, I call it, but there's other words we can call it: the void, the gap, the space of creation, the womb space, right? This is where we need to live in a lot of ways as leaders, because we are in that space of always creating and receiving ideas and moving forward. But if we don't feel confident in that place, in that mystery space, it's going to be hard for people to understand what our mission is and want to follow along and feel safe on that journey. So the other day I went to a group, the Rising Visionaries group that Kim leads. You got to meet Kim, I think it was on Tuesday. And when I went into the space, she was talking about this idea of the void. You have to go into the void. You have to be okay with going into the void. And I wanted to talk a little bit about words, because her and I, we talked about this in our conversation. If you haven't listened to it already, we talked about the power of words. And so I'm going to throw around a couple of different words for you to choose and resonate with what comes up for you. So she was using the word void, but for me, when I heard the word void, I felt like the floor dropped down underneath me, and I was just floating in this space where I had no idea where I was, and I felt very disoriented. But the choice of liminal space for me, I knew that I was between two worlds. I knew there was a world that I was leaving that I couldn't necessarily go back to, but I knew it was there. And this vision of another world that I was entering into, and maybe I didn't see it fully formed yet, but I know it's there and I know it's possible. So I'm in this liminal space of creation and knowing that I'm in this co-creative space. So whatever word resonates with you, void, liminal space, the space in between, the space of creation, the womb space, I invite you to find which word or phrase really resonates with you, because you've got to live there. You've got to live there and know that it is a safe place to be in, and make friends with it. And know that, yes, the shadows will come out in these darker spaces, but they're there to teach you. They're your teachers. They're the lessons waiting for you to give birth to something new. So I just had a conversation with somebody earlier, and we were talking about this sense of like kind of feeling alone in that void, or that liminal space of not quite knowing what we need to do, but we have all these skills and resources and figuring out how to apply them and how to show up in the world. And I just invite you, if you are also in that place too, to just consider coming into we have a Nomad Guides membership where we hold what I like to call the sacred pause, where we have community, where we bring in these ideas of what's happening in our inner journey, what's coming up as we're showing up for other people. You know, even the business stuff of like, how do I show up in my marketing? So we have these conversations to really support you and know that you're not alone, whether we know your vision or not fully and we're following it, but we're supporting each other, these leaders, to say, okay, guides, leaders, healers, teachers, whatever it is that word resonates with you, that you're not alone in taking people along your journey. And we also have whole sessions around the somatic embodiment practices that you're going to actually experience here in just a little bit. So that's there for you. Leah will probably share a link if you're interested in learning more about that. And then as we're going into this experience today, and it's really resonating, light bulbs are going off, you're feeling things in your body, I also invite you into another program that I can tell you more about later, is our alchemy program for embodied leaders. This is a mastering certification program where we're teaching the practices on how to be a centered, embodied owner of your life, a CEO of your life, to understand what is happening in your inner landscape. How do you build safety and trust in your own experience, in your own human body, in your own role as a person walking this earth, as your own leader of your own life and other people who are following you? And how do you hold that space for other people? So we look at the concepts of building safety and trust. How do you move from just being a productive human to being a creative human being, right? And giving yourself permission to truly be in that creative space and co-creative space. How do you call in other people who are in alignment with your vision and create with them? We look at how to move in inspired action. So how do you take action without feeling depleted and overwhelmed and feeling like you have to do all of the things in order to be quote unquote perfect and excel in what you're doing? But how can you do it with this true alignment, with this confidence, and know that you're doing exactly what you need to do? And then how do you move and hold that space for you in that emotional landscape? All the things, all the shadows that come up, the anger, the grief. How do you hold that for yourself and then be able to lean into it in a space of being more empathetic, feeling safe to feel more empathetic? Sometimes when we feel so much, it's hard to be in community with other people if we're feeling so many things. So how can you really use empathy as one of your superpowers? How do you create effective communication? How do you get your word out in a way that you know that it's alignment with your truth, with your vision? And then how do you trust that inner guidance and the support of the seen and the unseen worlds? So these are just some big ideas that we dig deep into this mastery and certification program. And again, if you're interested, there'll be links there and you can find out. And I definitely say, go ahead and book your one-on-one call with me and we can talk more about that if that resonates with you. But today is really about having an experience together. So we're going to explore that in just a moment. And I will say also about this program, there will be some of the embodiment leaders that you're meeting in the summit. They will be guest teachers in the alchemy program. So you get to dive in more deeply with them and learn their practices and their lessons of becoming an embodied leader, as well as my teaching as well. Because I feel it's really important that it's not just one voice represented, it's all of our voices represented. So you also will bring in your wisdom and your medicine into the conversations and grow and expand with us. So today, right here, right now, is all about landing here and claiming who you are and who you want to become. And before we do that, I do want to just recap a little bit if you didn't get to be with us on Monday or you need a little recap of this idea of disembodiment. So we know what embodiment is, right? Embodiment is to be wholly in yourself, your body, your breath, your mind, your spirit, all integrated. Right? But disembodiment is when we move out of that place, we don't feel safe. We start to have power over things. We start to kind of look outside of ourselves and try to control from there to create the safety that we don't have within ourselves. So this looks like, and I kind of broke it down in 3 different layers. So just on the very surface layer, if we don't feel safe, we react. We go immediately into that fight, flight, or freeze. Wait, and we don't have that moment to be able to pause and say, okay, I'm safe here. I can reflect upon this. I could respond to this, or I could just let it go, right? But when we don't feel safe, we have to fight, flight, or freeze. We go into that reactionary mode. And then that second layer, if we don't resolve it, we have this idea of duality. We split. We feel like we need to choose a side in order to feel safe. We need to be in a tribe in order to connect more deeply, and they're going to provide that safety that we haven't found within ourselves. So then there are the rules and regulations that we kind of have to follow in order to stay a part of that tribe. And then if we don't go even further, we start to give our power over to something else, right? We become even more fragmented. And we start to lose aspects of ourselves, and we're giving our energy out to the external world, and we don't feel that integration of who we are and what we want to create. And so what that could look like in kind of more of the modern Western world is we start to have power over people. We start to want to micromanage and control things on all levels, right? In the more spiritual realm, that looks like wanting to escape outside of our body and live in the ethereal world, the 4D, the 5D worlds, and not fully integrate our spirit into this body that chose to live this life and learn the lessons. So what we're going to do today in our experience is call these aspects of ourselves, parts of ourselves back. We're not going to get all of the aspects of ourselves back today, but we're going to have a direct experience to explore that. So what I'm going to do is set us up in another centering in just a moment to anchor you. So we did the centering for more of the Dharma talk of the unknown and helping us get out of that prison, right, and widen our circle. But this centering is going to be more intentional, taking us into the experience that we're going into more deeply. That will anchor you. So if anything does come up that feels a little uncomfortable, that you don't necessarily have the ability to deal with right now, you have that anchor of the centering practice to come back to. And I also want to emphasize that you have the power here, right? I'm holding a container for you. I'm guiding you through some various practices, but you have the power to choose how deep and wide and far you go into this journey. So a lot of what we do here in this embodiment work is to remind you that, yes, I have some skills and practices and lots of tools in my toolbox to offer you, but ultimately you're the one who chooses which one to pick up. And if you're going to pick anything up at all, you have the power. Right? So the next layer of our experience is what I'm going to call an emotional journaling, journaling. And so I encourage you, if you don't already have a piece of paper and a pen or anything that you want to write or draw with, have that nearby. And I do encourage you to physically write, right? Writing is a somatic practice, not just typing or using, your handheld devices to write out what's coming up for you, but physically writing. You're allowing the energy of what you're feeling to move through your body onto the paper, not just the words that you choose, but how you are writing it. So you can think about this when you are, if you've gone back and looked at, your handwriting, you're like, what was going on there? I can't read it, right? You might have been having some sort of energy flowing through you. So the way that you write when you're angry is going to look a lot different when you feel grounded and controlled and centered. Right. So this is also not just the words that you choose as a reflection of what's happening inside, but also the way that you're writing them is a reflection too. So we're going to use that as a practice to take you a little bit deeper, to call in an aspect of yourself that you might have given your power away to in the past. We'll integrate that a little bit and we'll create an open, safe, and I'll call it a liminal space for you to enter into in a powerful way. So that is the experience in a nutshell. Again, we'll start to go into it in just a moment of where we're going. And I'm going to just pause for a moment and see if there are any questions, or I see, your word is your wand. I love that, Denise. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments of anything that came through for you, please share in the various chats that I'm looking here. David's in West Virginia. I'm in West Virginia right now too. David, welcome. I love Alexander John. He's one of my favorite teachers. Yes. So, okay, beautiful. So yeah, before we do that centering, what's coming up for you? Does that resonate with you? Are you feeling like a little nervous? Like, what are we about to do? Yeah, let's be vulnerable too and just share. It's like, I'm excited. I'm ready to make a transformation. the work that we do, this embodied work that we do, is working on a quantum level, meaning that we're shifting our timelines, we're shifting time and space in rapid speeds. Right here, right now, we can do lots of layers of healing. And so my intention, what I'm calling in today, when I was thinking about what are we doing here today, the words that I called in for this intention of the practice was so that you feel leaving empowered, confident, grounded, centered. And so if you have a word that you want to call in for yourself and for this group, please share it in the chat. Stephanie says she's ready. Yes, I'm ready too. Awesome. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and center a little bit. So David's intrigued. I love it. Yes. Well, we're about to find out. I love it. All right, my dear friends. So let's go ahead and take a moment. Again, if you don't have your paper and pen, have it there for you. You're going to want that. And I'm just going to take a moment because I may use a little bit of music. So I have my computer music set up. Awesome. Okay. And let's go ahead and come to a place where you can be still. This could be seated. This could be lying down. This could be standing. Where you can ground down. First, we're coming into that idea of centering ourselves in our body, in our space. And so if it's helpful, again, to bring your hands on something, on your space or on your body, please feel free. And go ahead and close your eyes. Or at least soften your gaze away from the screen. And if it feels good to take those cleansing breaths as we did earlier, feel free. And I invite you now to bring this image of roots. Roots growing deep and wide and far. And you get to choose how deep and wide and far these roots are going. Just enough so that you feel anchored in where you are here now. Feel them going through the legs, your feet, down into the earth. And if there is anything that you are asking to release here today, that you want to leave behind, let's collectively just exhale out whatever that is down through the legs, down through your feet, into the earth. Let the earth receive that and transmute it into something new, either for you or for the earth or for anyone else that needs it. But right now, just let go of anything down through the legs, your feet, through the roots, into the earth. To make space for something new. And then call in any nourishment that you're seeking, or anything else that you're seeking that you could receive energetically here now from the earth, up through the roots, to your feet, to your legs, to your heart space, and anywhere else in the body that needs it most right now. All in this nourishment, this energy, whatever it is for you, to help you fill up your cup. And as you take some deeper breaths, know that that breath is helping move that nourishment throughout the rest of your body and also out into your space. And wherever we end up going here on this bit of a journey, know that you can come back and anchor into these roots of yours that are here as your own personal support system. Take just 2 more breaths here, releasing and receiving. Now, I invite you to call in a leader, a teacher, a guide that showed you contrast, showed you the type of leader, the type of person that you do not want to become. Call this person in. And this person might have been something that you witnessed was happening, or maybe it was something that happened to you as a result of this contrast. You get to choose the person, the situation. And just notice, first of all, how your body is responding to this person being in your presence. Whatever you feel, it all belongs. And now I invite you, whenever you feel, you can stay in this meditation as long as you like, but when you feel called, start to get your pen and your paper out and write a letter. Write a letter to this person. And with no filtering, write everything that you witnessed, everything that perhaps you received, the good, the bad, the ugly. Dig in as deep as you want to go with this and write that letter. Some questions that you could perhaps ask are, why are you so angry? What did they do wrong? How did this somehow hold you back? Or how did it inspire you? And as you write these words and you allow yourself to express without a filter, you're calling your power back. You're calling an aspect of yourself that you might have lost in that experience. Let yourself call that power back through your words here now. And you get to choose how deep and wide and far you're going. You have your roots here to support you. You have your breath to support you. And if you need to make a sound, if you need to really speak it out loud, feel free. Allow yourself to use your own power of your voice to express as well, if that feels good. Take about another minute and get out as much as you can say that's necessary for right now. Notice again, how is your body responding as you share these words on a page? Are you creating more tension? Are you releasing that tension? Whatever it is, just notice and know that it all belongs. And then just take a moment and place your writing utensil down. And let's go ahead and just let that energy, if it's still in your body, move around. So I invite you to kind of just do a little seated, what we'll call cat-cow, moving the body, taking some deep breaths. Maybe you move a little side to side or twist. Just listen to where you need to go intuitively. And as you're kind of moving your body around, I invite you to bring in an image. Maybe it's an element of water or fire or air. Bring in an element into your space and see if you can embody that. So maybe you need to wash away those words. You want to cleanse yourself. You can kind of embody a little river going through, a waterfall cleansing, or maybe it's burning it away, clearing it out, transmuting it into something new. With a gust of wind, blowing it away. You can choose. Just let yourself dance around in that element for a few more breaths. Allow yourself to take deeper breaths to cleanse. And if you want to share just maybe one word that came through, one word or a short phrase that came through, if you want to share it in one of the chats, just to help us see you and feel, witness you in that bit of transformation of releasing and calling in an aspect of you. It's part of, we call, oh, I love that, an honoring. Honor. This is part of a soul retrieval. We're calling aspects of ourselves back. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is just take a moment and pause with that. Pause in the stillness and fully receive whatever it is that you just were able to express and release and move, transmute. This is where it might feel maybe a little challenging to do, but I invite you into this. Is to now write a letter back to you from this person. Write a letter back to you from this person. So looking through their eyes and sharing the message that you are ready to receive now from this person. To remember this person is a mirror for us to look into, reflect upon, to sometimes see what we don't want to become. But what is this person here now wanting you to know? Take a few minutes to write this letter. And even here, you're calling an aspect back. An aspect back of yourself, becoming more whole and complete. What is here for you to receive right now? Think of this as you calling in that nourishment through the roots, providing you with new words and wisdom, new perspective. Take another minute or so. You'll be writing a letter to you from this person. What do they want you to know? And just come to a close in writing this letter, and you can always come back to it later if there are more words that need to be spoken. And I invite you to just imagine this person is sitting here now with you. And simply look at this person through your eyes. And say to them lovingly, I know what you are. I know what you are. And I know what I am. I know what I am. And just let the echoes of I am continue to permeate through the cells of your body. I am. I am. Not needing to know anything beyond that. I am. Giving yourself that permission to be in that space of mystery of all that is. I am. Now we're creating an open, safe, liminal space for you to potentially step into in a moment. So let's call in somebody that is that leader that emanates everything that you want to become. And that could be somebody that you know on a personal level. That could be somebody that you admire from afar. It could be a movie character, a superhero, some sort of archetype. But call in this ideal leader into your space now. And let's imagine this person just first on the superficial level. What do they look like? What kind of clothes are they wearing? Their eyes, the color of their hair, their skin. Do they have a scent that they always have on them? What's their voice sound like? What's their laugh sound like? What does their smile look like? And then what are some of the words that they say? What are some of the messages that they share? And the qualities that they hold. And you can stay in a meditation or start to write down a list of these qualities. And at some point, just start to write down these qualities of this embodied leader. What kind of space do they create? What type of people are they leading? How do these people feel in the presence of this person? And you can continue to write and make that list. And whenever you feel that you're coming to completion, take a moment and reflect and look at the words that are on the page. And really soak them in, bring them into your own experience here now of who you are. And I invite you to just go through and put a star, an asterisk, next to all of the qualities that you feel you already embody. The a star next to all of the qualities that you already embody as a beautiful human walking on this earth, leading your life, being that centered, embodied owner of your life. And then circle the ones that you want to invoke more of, that you want to invite into and take ownership of. Circle the words or phrases that you want to alchemize for yourself. Do you want to be more compassionate, more motivating, more clear, grounded, powerful, supportive? And then once you've circled a few of these, we're not gonna zoom in on all of them, just one or two. As you look at these and see, okay, what are one or two of these qualities that I want to embody more of? Write down 1 to 3, try not to go crazy, something that's manageable, 1 to 3 action steps. So if it was something like, I want to be more centered, well, then an action step could be committing to a meditation practice every morning for 5 minutes. Or you want to have more magnetism, right? What can I do to bring that magnetism within me? Maybe it's a new hobby that just brings you so much joy that you want to bring more into your life so that you exude that energy in all the things that you do. So what are 1 to 3 action steps that you can do to start to embody these qualities? And that could be a week from now, 2 months from now, a year from now. You get to set your own timeline, but I would also suggest to write that down. What is your timeline? And your timeline could be just, I'm going to sign up for that class. I'm going to go to that dance class. I'm going to commit to meditation for 3 weeks. Whatever it might be, right? It doesn't have to be the timeline of completing it. It could just be the action step, the next action step that you're going to take in that timeline. And then the last piece of that is write down a person that can be your, what I'll call an accountability buddy, that you know that will cheer you on, will want this for you and with you, who's also maybe a friend, maybe is in the workspace with you, maybe is a family member, that's going to lovingly support you, but also hold you accountable. Right? Help you with that radical responsibility of showing up for yourself so that you can be that leader that you fully want to embody. And if you're still writing, keep writing. But if you want to write a word that just embodies all of this that came through for you, or a short phrase, you can share it in the chats. Or if you have a question about that, anything that you want to share, those of you in the VIP lounge, we will have a little bit of time to integrate privately in just a couple of minutes, if you care to share. So once you have that, just take a moment and again, give yourself that squeeze, that hug So whatever you just envisioned for yourself and what you're becoming, let's squeeze that into the body, squeeze that into our fascia, right? Into our physical body. Let it be part of that new blueprint that you're creating for yourself so that you can be that change. You can widen that circle and show up, break out of your prison and widen your circle and be the change that you want to see in this world. That is where we end our practice today, our experience today. So again, if something came up for you that needs a little bit more fine-tuning, if you need to go back and revisit any of those letters or any of this list of the leader, please dig into it a little bit more on your own. You can also sign up for that one-on-one call with me. We can be a part of that envisioning for you of what you want to release so that you can envision and create something new for yourself in our world. And if you need even more support, as I mentioned, there are a couple of programs that we have that we shared the links. Again, you can lean into our community, the Guides community, where we hold space twice a week for both your inner journey and your outer journey of being an embodied leader. We have a deeper experience of the mastery and certification, if you like. And I also need to give a little plug for my book, Dear Radiant One. It is on sale during the summit, the ebook version for $3.99. Michelle, who is my publisher, she's from Grace Point Publishing. She's coming on the summit on, I think it's Saturday. So you'll get to hear from Michelle, and she'll also be in our summit panel on Sunday. But she was one of my mentors through this experience of publishing this book, Dear Radiant One, an emotional recovery story and transformational guide to embody the dance of life, is there for you too. So if you resonated with my story, what I shared with my experience with my father, I go deeper into that journey. I also bring in the somatic and expanded awareness practices. So if what we just did really resonated with you and you want to go on your own, there are more practices in this book. I do a lot more of these types of practices in all the containers that I hold for the membership, for the alchemy program, and one-on-one sessions. So I definitely would love to be able to guide you through whatever it is that you're creating and whatever you're working through so that you can create. Yeah, I would love to support you. So I'm going to end there. We're going to say goodbye to our friends at YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to join us in the VIP room on Sunday, I definitely encourage you to come and sign up for VIP. You can have access to us and hang out with 7 embodied leaders, including myself. So I think it's 8 total or 9. I don't remember now. And we'll be able to have a little bit more of that one-on-one experience with them. And other things, you get the lifetime access to the videos. If you're still kind of behind catching up with them, you'll have lifetime access to the videos, as well as the videos, because you don't have the videos in the regular one. So you also have the videos as well as the audio. Okay, thanks everybody in